we're going to play 2 or 3 minutes of Governor Tim Walz, his speech. He's talking about freedom. He cares about freedom for the individual, as long as, you want to be free to take rights away from other people. You're going to have that freedom if they win. So let's listen to a little bit of their speech. It was a packed arena. There were a lot of people there, okay? A bunch of them. I don't know if they're all getting paid or if they just really wanted to be there. Let's listen to some of this speech right fast.
When Vice President and I talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions.
We are already gaslighting. What was that? 8 seconds?
Yeah.
We're already lying and gaslighting the people. The freedom to make your own healthcare decisions, unless you don't want to take a vaccine. You can't make that freedom for your own healthcare decisions.
Unless you want to keep your doctor.
Yeah. If you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor, of course.
The freedom to make your own choices as long as you comply with all these regulations.
Yes. All of these, and then you can make your own choices as long as your own choices fit right here below this shelf, but above these little liberties up there, everything to the right of these freedoms and liberties, but to the left of these right over here, as long as they fit right here in this box.
You can make your own choice.
You can make those choices right there. And
it's like, it's like arranged marriages, You have the freedom to love whoever you want.
Exactly.
As long as it's this guy that your dad chose for you.
You're absolutely free.
You're free.
To do that right there.
You are free to marry whoever you want as long as you choose from this one guy.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, by healthcare decisions, they don't mean whether or not you want to take an experimental vaccine. It's not that. It's
killing babies.
Killing babies. That's the healthcare decision that they mean.
Yeah.
Now the baby, I don't want to get into abortion right now. The baby doesn't have any freedoms. Not that. You have freedoms to make healthcare decisions, of course.
Yeah.
It's always freedoms that take away rights from other humans. You'll notice that in this list. We're only 8 seconds in right now.
And for our children to be free to go to school without worrying they'll be shot dead in their classrooms.
Yet again, another freedom, so freedom from worry that you're going to be shot dead in your classroom. First off, the worry comes from a bunch of people online skewing statistics and making up numbers about school shootings. Sometimes they involve a security officer's gun who went off in his holster, or they involve someone having a gun and waving it around. That goes down as a school shooting. But then they tell you that there's been like 200 school shootings this year. I haven't seen them in the news, but there's been quite a lot of that. And that freedom, by the way, to not be scared of this thing that statistically is extremely rare involves removing freedoms from other people, like their freedom to have something to defend themselves against an intruder or many intruders if you live in his state of Minnesota, or against the government if you want to do that. It removes those freedoms from you. But we're not talking about freedom for those people.
Unless you want to set fire to police stations.
That's what I said. Yeah, you can. You have the freedom to do that, by the way. I mean, they are going to give some freedoms, but yet again, it's freedom to take rights away from others.
And his wife will open up the windows to smell the burning air.
I didn't listen to it. I saw that video go around. The burning. Smells like freedom. I love the smell of Marxism in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
People are psycho.
By the way, as you heard, I was one of the best shots in Congress, but in Minnesota, we believe in the Second Amendment, but we also believe in common sense gun violence laws.
They don't do anything.
Vice President Harris' idea of freedom is a ticket for education to be that ticket to the middle class, not crippling debt. Air that's clean, water that's pure, communities that are safe.
Yeah. I'm going to remind everyone that she is currently the vice president and has been part of an administration for almost 4 years right now. So that's also important. Once again, her idea of freedom are things that take away rights from other people, like the freedom from debt for college, Charlie. Who could be against that? The freedom from crippling debt. How do you free people from that? You take away money from other people. You remove their freedom to have their own money and do with it what they please. You remove that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. Clean air. I don't know about you. I had a tough time getting in here this morning. The air was so rough. It was difficult.
Yeah.
It was.
By the litter box or?
Who was that? Oh, God.
Pure water.
A place where we
By the way,
just like they have in Flint.
Just exactly. Just like they have in Democrat-led Flint, Michigan.
Lead Flint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Political differences not through violence, but with our votes.
Oh, we missed one.
A place where we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes.
Yeah. Just like it was a vote that almost hit President Trump in the head.
Or it was a vote for, I don't know, people in Minnesota to burn down a bunch of buildings and attack a bunch of people and burn down police stations and all that. They don't settle political differences through violence.
No.
Gaslighting on top of gaslighting and lying and lying. And no one cares. Some people care. Some people do. The fine people who listen to this show, some people on the right, not all of them. They like it when their guy gaslights.
Yeah.
You don't like when other people gaslight. You know, you can't have any of that. But it doesn't matter if any of this stuff is true at all, because all they want to do is win because Orange Man bad. And that's it. They'll talk about democracy with two people standing in front of them that receive 0 votes in the primary. And they'll talk about democracy and how they're going to save it. No one cares. They'll clap, they'll wave their signs, wear their cool camo hats that they have. I don't know if you saw those. They've got these camo hats that say Harris Walz on them. It's a good marketing idea. It's a
Is
good
that
hat.
to highlight his veteran status?
No, he's a hunter. He's he's a regular, everyday, normal guy. Okay? He's a dad. He's a veteran. He hunts and he trains his kids just like everyone else. He's just like you. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's what this election's about. What direction will this country go in? He's not going back. Well,
She's
Donald
always
Trump
laughing.
would damn sure take us backwards. Let's be clear about that. And don't believe him when he plays dumb. He knows exactly what Project 2025 will do to restrict our freedoms.
Those are, by the way, all the freedoms that he just mentioned. The freedom to force other people to do things. Like those freedoms. You should be free to force other people to do things.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, they have all these buzzwords that they have to make sure they get into every speech.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're checking a box off the teleprompter.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, we got Project 2025 in there. There we go.
Got to mention
What's
that.
next?
Doesn't matter
Democracy.
Got to talk about that.
Democracy's next.
I don't think that's exactly next. Let's see.
To rig the economy to help the super rich. If Trump gets it.
Now, these are people who put in place regulations and tax structures that only the super rich can handle. They make it harder for people who aren't super rich to get up there with the super rich guys. But they're just going to talk about how, well, they're going to rig the economy in favor of the super rich, of course.
A chance to return, he's going to pick up exactly where he left off 4 years ago. Only this time, it will be much, much worse. Raising costs.
By the way, much, much worse than the Trump administration would be the Biden-Harris administration. Just so you know, things have not been great.
Groceries are going to be even more expensive than they are right now.
Much worse. Much. You know the terrible time of inflation during Trump's administration at 1.8%, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be much worse. It's going to be like 1.6 this time.
When the
so
cost,
much worse.
The cost of gas went under $2. Now, of course, there was COVID.
That was COVID.
other things, of course, but
CARES Act fueled inflation. We know that. Okay. This is not an endorsement of Donald Trump by saying these things. But I do agree with something I heard Dave Smith say a couple weeks ago when I was at that show. Like, both of these teams deserve to lose, but the left deserves to lose way worse than the right does. Okay. And that's why we tend to talk about things from the standpoint of the right. And also we agree with a lot more things with people on the right as well. But some things people on the left as well. It's kind of like being a libertarian. Now, none of those people are doing it for libertarian principles at all, but it's a description.
So a middle-class family. He will repeal the Affordable Care Act. No doubt about it.
No, he won't. Now he's lying through his teeth. Don't try to make me vote for Donald Trump, Tim Walz, okay? He already was president for 4 years.
And had control of the House and Senate for 2 years.
They voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act many times up until they had control. And then
it never came up.
And then nothing. Didn't do it. They didn't do it then at all. So don't sit here and tell me that he's going to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
How is the Affordable Care Act working for people?
Because they tell you it's working.
Can anybody look at the Affordable Care Act and be like, oh, yeah, healthcare's gotten better?
Healthcare's gotten so much cheaper.
Yeah. What a landmark piece of legislation.
I've rotated through like 8 doctors since then, and my plan is, 10 times more expensive, and my deductible's super high. God, we used to have something called, now kids don't know what this is. Used to be something called a Cadillac plan. That's where you paid like almost nothing and got almost everything. Okay. It was great. And your company, if you work for your company, they would provide you with just like the world's best insurance, like low deductibles, great coverage. Got that Cadillac plan. Okay. Illegal because it's not fair.
Not fair.
Okay. And they don't want to have to provide that through the Affordable Care Act to other people. They can't put that on the exchange, that Cadillac plan. Gone. Or catastrophic insurance.
The opposite, yeah.
The exact opposite. Super high deductible, pay nothing.
Yes.
Illegal.
Yep. All illegal. We have to make healthcare equal.
Oh, God. Okay, what else? I think that was almost it that I wanted to talk about, except for his quote about J.D. Vance. We will talk about that because today's...
democracy's coming up. I can feel it.
He'll gut Social Security and Medicare?
No, he won't. No. He won't. It's going to gut itself pretty soon. Okay? It's going to take itself out like some kind of like
it's going to Clinton itself.
It's going to Japanese honor kill itself here pretty soon. Okay? Yeah. It's going to get on its knees and stab itself with a sword because there's no money. All right? That's what's going to happen to Social Security. Yeah. Trump ran against Nikki Haley, saying that she was going to cut Social Security and that he wasn't going to touch it at all. All right? It's just lying and lying. I'm not saying I support Trump. I'm saying I want them to stop lying for 2 seconds. Just do it.
It's not what sells, though. That's the thing, Nate. Okay. These guys know exactly what they're doing. And I got to give it to some people on the left. And just in the pure sense, and like in the pure business sense, right? They know exactly what they're doing and they're able to sell this message. And it's easy. It's so easy to sell. Nate and I could start a podcast tomorrow and be pure leftists and guarantee you we would make more money than we could ever dream of just from that show alone.
Yeah. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to ever say the truth at all.
Nope.
Just be hyperbolic about it. And honestly, we could probably decide to be just pure right wing and also have no principles.
And do the same thing.
Just hyperbolic everything. And I think that would be way easier too. The problem we have every time we post is that I feel bad if I post against the left without also pointing out that the right sucks too. That's not a big winning message at all. When I do try to just go specifically towards one side or the other, it does better. But it's not a fair post. Like I feel bad. Weeks later, I feel bad about it still. If I don't put at the end like also Trump sucks. Yeah. I feel bad. All right, let's see what else. Is democracy on the way?
And when somebody tells you are, they believe him. He said he'd ban abortion across this country, and he'll do it, whether or not Congress is there or not.
How?
Who? Who said he didn't?
Trump.
He didn't say that.
I know.
He didn't say it. What is he talking about? The Republicans have backed off from abortion because they know it's a losing issue for them right now.
Also, how is he going to personally ban it across the nation?
That would have to be a law passed through Congress that he would sign, but he has said in the last month or so that he would not. It's left up to the states. He thinks that it's in the right place right now. It's left up to the states. He said that repeatedly.
Donald Trump's not fighting for you or your family. He never sat at that kitchen table like the one I grew up at, wondering how we were going to pay the bills. He said his country club.
Well, I'm sorry, your dad sucked.